What's up? Now, what I'm about to say next is going to make some of us feel pretty old. It's been 20 years since Tupac Shakur was murdered. Yeah, been 20 years. Now, yes, it's been 20 years. He was shot in Las Vegas, Nevada after a Mike Tyson fight on September 7th, 1996, and died 6 days later from his gunshot wounds on Friday the 13th. It's true. Look it up. And so I wanted to do something to kind of commemorate or remember Tupac Shakur's music, and my first thought was to do a top 10 Tupac songs. I talked to my brother, who's also a big Tupac fan, and we were discussing this idea, and he helped me come up with a different idea. See, Tupac has had so many songs that people like, and they know that any sort of top 10 I would do of that would probably just be retreading water for a lot of people, and just I would probably say the same sort of songs that a lot of other people would probably say. And so instead, Tupac has a lot of songs that some people may not really know about. Yeah, maybe they weren't made into a music video, or maybe they were made during the early part of his career when he wasn't really that famous, or so on and so forth. Any other reasons that you could think of that this particular song wouldn't be well known. And so that's what I'm going to do. This is going to be my top 10 underrated Tupac songs. I want to put this list together, and hopefully maybe you can go out and listen to some of these songs at some point. So here we go. Number 10 is Hail Mary. Now, this song is a pretty interesting one because it starts off like a prayer, but then it goes in pretty deep and kind of a hard look into his street life, how it was when, being in the streets of Compton and South Central, and sort of the things that he has seen, and it's kind of done well when it's backed up with this slow, almost choir-like song, choir-like music in the background. And so I definitely think it's one that's kind of known, but kind of not. My brother and I like it, but I don't know if a lot of other people know about it. And so I think it's definitely one that should be checked out. Number 9 is You Can't See Me. Years before John Cena made You Can't See Me his catchphrase, there was a song by Tupac called You Can't See Me. This is more of a party anthem for those of you who like Tupac's I Get Around, or those sort of songs. This is what that kind of song is. It's a lot more braggadocious. It's very fast beat. It's got a lot of kind of a laughing vibe to it, especially towards the end. But it's a very good song. I like it a lot, and I think it's because it didn't have a music video, unlike I Get Around. It's not really that well known, so I definitely think you should check it out. I think it's in the CD All Eyes on Me. So if you get a chance, check that one out. Number 7 is God Bless the Dead. This one's interesting because at the beginning it says this. He dedicates it to Notorious B.I.G., Biggie Smalls, but he dies first. I kind of think maybe he kind of knew that he was running short on time, because this is, I believe, one of the last CDs he made before his death. And especially back then, 20 years ago, you had this big East Coast, West Coast thing going on, and people were just putting more gasoline on this fire and making it seem like this big gang warfare. And I think Tupac even knew that it's going to end with us dying. And so I think that's probably why it started off as dedicating it to Notorious B.I.G. Even a couple other times they say, you're always going to be there, my friend. He used the N-word. I don't like using it. You're always going to be there, and that sort of thing. It's kind of weird that this song is kind of predicting that Notorious B.I.G. would be killed. Like I said, even though Tupac died first. So it's definitely a very somber song, and if you like that sort of songs, especially from Tupac, I think you're going to really like this one. My brother and I really like it as well. Number 6 is Holler If You Hear Me. This is one of the earliest albums, and man, it's the angriest Tupac song on this list. It is so angry at the police brutality that had been going on. This, I believe, came out in 92 because he references Dan Quayle, who was vice president at the time. And so you see him, you hear him talking about this people being gunned down in the streets, people being killed by cops, and it's almost a warning about people rising up and trying to basically attack the police. And he mentions Quayle in the song because Quayle at the time was trying to scapegoat Tupac Shakur and Ice-T and rap music instead of looking at police brutality. Something's never changed, huh? And this is a really interesting song because it kind of goes into the whole what would happen if they're like raising up against the police. It's kind of fascinating. Number 5 is Pain. This one's pretty interesting because it's kind of hard, but it also gets kind of soft and kind of the "You'll Never Take Me Alive," but still having this kind of a softer edge to it, which is kind of interesting, I think. And it's one of those songs that is kind of overlooked. It's really overlooked. I hadn't heard it for years, and it wasn't until probably about 5 years ago, maybe, that, no, a little more than that, because Ja Rule tried to do a remake of it, and then I went and listened to the original, and I thought, man, this is so much better. I don't know why people talk about this one, because, yeah, this one's really good. And so I think this is one that if you ever listen to the Ja Rule version, you should definitely check out Tupac's. Much better. Number 4 is How Long Will They Mourn Me? One of Tupac's things had to do with death. He talked a lot about death in his songs, and this one is a perfect example of that. And it's a good question. How long will they mourn me? And him and Nate Dogg, and I forget who else is in the song, talk about death and remembering people and all these sort of things, and it almost makes you want to have that song played at your own funeral if you're a fan of Tupac. And so if you're looking for kind of a really somber song and talking about death, this is a song you should check out. And it's very well done. The music and the rhyme flow just go so well together. So yes, check it out. Number 3 is Life Goes On, another song about death. But this one's my favorite of his, I guess, death songs, because it talks about how all these things, the people are dying, and his kind of role of, I'm always the shoulder to cry on when things go wrong. You know, all these things we go through when somebody dies, but then in the end, life goes on, and you got to move on from it. And it's definitely a beautiful song. It's not as somber as How Long Will They Mourn Me. It's almost gospel in a way, and it's done in such a great way that I can't help but listen to the song and just get a little remembrance of people who have passed away in my life. Yeah, it's a very good song. Check it out. Number 2 is Only God Can Judge Me. This is a great song. It's a great song off of, again, I think it's All Eyes on Me. A lot of these are on All Eyes on Me, I believe. But this one is such a good song because it talks about all these experiences and all these judgments being labeled on Tupac. And then in the end, it's Only God Can Judge Me. And he talks about the hardships and the kind of things he goes through. And again, it's always at the end, it's like, only God can judge me. And it's kind of a way of life for some people. It's like, only God can judge me. It's like, who are you to tell me what kind of a person I am? Or all these horrible things about me. Only God can judge me. And it's a great song. Again, a little bit of gospelness to it as well. The way it starts and the way it ends. And it's a really good song. Definitely check it out. Now, my number 1 underrated Tupac song is also my favorite Tupac song. And that is Temptations. This is a beautiful song and a romantic song. Yeah. Tupac has some good romance. This is what I really liked about Tupac, was his ability to go from angry to vengeful to sorrowful to almost wanting to cry, and to being joyful and happy. He runs the gamut of emotions so well. No one has been able to really duplicate that. Some of the best rappers can hit a lot of these, but only Tupac could hit all of these so well, and it was so great. And this is one that encapsulates it, because Temptations talks about how he wants to be in a committed relationship. He wants to have that one person in his life, but he's tempted. He's tempted with all these beautiful women, especially being a famous rapper. He's got this going on, and it's so well done. And it talks about relationships, not just being famous in a relationship, but relationships in general. And it's done so well. There is a video to this, but it's the first video that Tupac made that he's not in, because he was in jail at the time. And I think this one gets kind of lost in the shuffle because it was right before Tupac went into jail, and as soon as he got out and started making music for Death Row Records, people just gravitated towards those songs, and Temptations got kind of pushed to the side. Same with Holler If You Hear Me, which was when I believe he was still with the Digital Underground. And so this song is so well done. I kind of listen to it when I want to listen to something softer and kind of romantic. It's a really good song. Listen to any of these 10 songs that I listed, and I think you'll really enjoy it. So what's your favorite Tupac song that you think a lot of people don't really know about? Try and stick to stuff he did before he was killed, and do yourself a favor and listen to some Tupac songs this week if you are a fan of Tupac. And if you're just a fan of rap music in general, check out his music. It's really good. And so that's all. Stay tuned for my next video. Take care.